Is it possible that no matter what, a traditional news outlet will never tell the truth? That they will call a criminal a hero if that means increasing their ratings? Get your questions ready because the show starts now.
This is the Nico Lagan Show. Warning. Warning. This show contains explicit content. Listener discretion is advised. Real, raw, and shooting you straight. This is the Nico Lagan Show. And now your host, Nico.
This episode of the Nico Lagan Show is brought to you by the Alpha Creator Blueprint. If you are a male content creator looking to take your brand to the next level using social media, check out tacblueprint.com and find out how I get millions of views every month on my content. My name is Nico Lagan. I am a voice for common sense. I believe in accountability, manly men, feminine women, small governments, free speech, the Second Amendment, and God. Like always, I want to hear from you guys. This is why we do it live. I want to be able to interact with you. So please don't be shy. Ask me questions. Tell me I'm full of shit. Agree with me. Challenge me. Whatever it is, I want to hear from you guys. So please never be shy to say something. I am monitoring the chats as I'm speaking here. So feel free to approach me. Don't be shy. Now, Harrison Butker. I had never heard of this guy until a couple of weeks ago because, truth be told, I'm not the biggest fan of American football. I have nothing against it. I'm just a fighter. I love fighting sports. But hey, I know my American friends are a big fan, and considering that he's won multiple titles over the past few years, he's worth talking about. So he was everywhere. He still is, actually, to this moment. He still is everywhere. Thank you, Snazzy. I appreciate that. I appreciate the love. Thank you very much. Now, Butker is absolutely everywhere. And unless you've been hiding under a rock over the past 2 weeks, you know exactly why. If not, you know what? I'll throw you a bone and we'll talk about him a bit. The NFL player gave a speech at the Benedict College where he said that women had been lied to, that they should embrace the role of being wives and mothers, stating that his wife's life didn't really start until she became a wife and a mother. Now, let me ask you, is that irritating to you? For the women out there, is that something that bothers you? Is that something that really you find troublesome, that a man would say that a woman should be a wife and a mother? But no matter how you feel, and let me know, please let me know in the chats what you think, but no matter how you feel about this, you can imagine that there's an outrage going on right now, that every feminist out there is blue in anger because he had the balls to say that women should embrace the fact that they're meant to be wife and mothers. You know what? I agree with him. I agree with him that women should be wives, should be mothers, in the same way as men should be husbands and fathers. I don't see a problem with that. There are gender roles. There are absolutely gender roles, and all he did is point them out. That's all he did. He didn't say anything else. All he's saying is there are gender roles. Agree, disagree with him, it's still a fact that only women can be mothers. No matter what you want to tell yourself, there's only women that can be mothers. And it's a proven fact that, as per psychology research, that women in general are twice as likely to be depressed compared to men. And women in their 30s that don't have children are twice more at risk than women with children to be depressed. So mothers without children in their 30s are twice more likely to be depressed at women who are mothers. So no matter how you feel about it, the psychology is there. The studies are there. So what Butker is saying, he's not wrong. It's just it pisses people off when somebody points it out. And you know what? I get it, because people don't like to be accountable. They don't like to be told the truth, especially if it goes against their feelings, right? And you can imagine that people are calling him all type of names, similar names that I'm being called every day on social media, but people are pushing it even further, and that kind of blows my mind. But it blows my mind, but at the same time it doesn't, because I expected this. But basically they're saying that it's unfair that Butker gets to pass misogynistic, homophobic, and transphobic comments, but when a guy like Colin Kaepernick gets blacklisted. Do you remember this guy? Do you remember Colin Kaepernick? You know, the quarterback from a few years ago that took a knee instead of standing during the national anthem in the NFL. He took a knee. It became a massive thing. Like it was all happening during the BLM movement. So he took knees. He, instead of standing for the national anthem, he took a knee. I found it disrespectful, but you know what? Freedom of speech. You're allowed to say whatever the fuck you want. Doesn't matter that I disagree with you. You should still be allowed to do it, and he was. In the same way as Butker should be allowed to say whatever the fuck he wants, because freedom of speech, like it or not, doesn't matter. He said it. Kaepernick did what he did, and he got loved and he got hated for it. But what I find interesting is that there's a lot of people that came in over the past week that are saying that how unfair it is that Butker is still has a job after the comments that he passed, yet Kaepernick got blacklisted. Well, you know what? Bullshit. Kaepernick did not get blacklisted. I'm not even an NFL fan, and I know that he wasn't that good of a quarterback. That's what it is. So stop comparing apples and oranges and just admit that Kaepernick did what he did, didn't get blacklisted. He just got cut because he wasn't that great of a quarterback. And guess what? In professional sports, that happens all the time. If the team you play for can find a better person to do your job, they're going to do it. It's all about money, bro. So stop lying to yourself thinking that Kaepernick got blacklisted and that Butker deserves the same thing for voicing his opinion. Both of them were allowed to say it. Both of them said it. Deal fucking with it. Just deal with it. People are allowed to have an opinion that you don't agree with. Now back to Butker. Although the outrage is still going on, people are still complaining, and traditional media is blah, 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 just going on and on and on and on about Butker and his misogynic message. The truth in the matter is that Butker's men's jersey and t-shirts are amongst the most popular Chief gear. He outpaced his fellow teammates, Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Butker's jersey is the third amongst the most sold men's jersey in the NFL. So this is the beauty out of it. This is the beauty here, and this is why I'm talking about Butker today. Because the media is telling you on one side that Butker doesn't deserve to be an NFL player anymore, that he didn't, that his comments should ban him from everything, that he should be destroyed for his comments. Yet, on the other hand, that's the part they don't want you to know, is that his jersey has never been more popular. He's the most popular jersey in his team, and he's ranked third in the NFL. Not only that, but I saw an article this week that was saying that even the feminine jerseys and t-shirts are selling like crazy, that they ran out of it and they had to reorder some. So think about it for a second. As much as people are outraged by what he says, there's a lot of people out there that actually agrees with him, to a point that even the coach of the Chiefs came out and defended him. that the wives, like the wife of the Kansas City Chief owner, came out and said that his speech was not bigoted at all. To a point where even Taylor Swift's voice, even to a point where Taylor Swift's boyfriend, fellow teammate Travis Kelsey, said this about Butker: I cherish him as a teammate. He is every bit of a great person and a great teammate. So think about this for a second. The people that are close to him actually like him, even though they don't necessarily agree with what he had to say. A lot of people are agreeing with what he's saying, to a point where his jersey is the most sold jersey of the Chief and third amongst the NFL. But traditional news outlet wants you to believe that he is the worst person since Hitler. Like, it's absolutely, absolutely amazing how this works. It's so easy for big media to just blast this shit everywhere and we all believe it. I don't know if you took the time, but you should go check the comments that he's getting. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, the comments that he's getting, because it's split right down the middle. There doesn't seem to be any gray line with Butker. Either you agree with him or you disagree with him. But the point in the matter is that it's not just people that are disagreeing with him. There's a lot of people out there that like him, that believe what he says, that believe in what he says. And you know what? I'm one of them. So I don't know how you feel about this, but let me know what you think about Buckner. Like, let me know if you think he's full of shit, if he said what he said and you agree with him. I'm curious. Let me know in the chats what you're thinking. But to me, there's two great there's two great lessons to learn here. One, stop believing everything traditional media is telling you and think that everybody is outraged by this. Because as I said, there's a lot of people that agree with him, me included. And second, this is for the message. This message is for the people that are triggered because their feeling got hurt with his statement. Know this: your feelings only matter to you, and others are not responsible for the way that you feel. And because someone hurt your feelings, it doesn't mean that they should get canceled and lose their jobs. Grow the fuck up. The world does not revolve around you and the way you feel. Now, let's see. Being a mother is the single most important thing I've ever done. Raising the next generation to be strong and confident is paramount. Beautifully said, Snazzy. Beautifully said. I couldn't agree with you more. That's the role that you guys have. Like it or not, women are the only one that can be mothers, and you play a role that is so fucking important that it should be embraced. I couldn't agree with you more. Now, until a woman has been a wife and a mother, they cannot begin to understand the importance of it. I am both. I still work full time and I have my own interests that are independent of my family. Well, there you go. There you have it, Snazzy. That's absolutely right. It's not because you're you're a wife and mother that men are telling you that you should be in the kitchen and shut the hell up. Thank you for saying this, because I've heard it before. I've heard it many times that women's life don't really start until they become a wife and mothers. You're allowed to disagree with this, no problem. But there's a lot of women out there that believe that to be a fact, and I embrace it. And I think that's a beautiful thing. Good for you. Scammy, what's going on? Good afternoon to you too. What is going on? Now, let's talk about something else here. We're going to move on to a woman I've spoke about before. I spoke about it in a way that's a bit different than today, but don't get me wrong. I respect the woman. I think that what she's doing is great. I believe that all the power to the WNBA, but I want to talk about Caitlin Clark, but not Caitlin Clark directly. I want to talk about what people are saying about her, which, does it blow my mind once again? No, because I knew this would happen, but there's a question for you. Is the left finally starting to turn on itself? Like, is the snake finally starting to eat its own tail? Because a couple of weeks ago, everyone was praising Caitlin Clark. For almost 30 years in existence, the WNBA is finally getting the attention that it deserves. And you know what? They were right. Turns out that since Caitlin started playing, the WNBA has seen a 14% increase in their attendance over last year. And Caitlin's debut brought more than 1.7 million viewers, which is a league's record. Everybody should be celebrating, right? Everybody should be up and clapping and be happy because woo, finally the WNBA is getting the attention that it deserves. Wrong. Sports commentator Jamil Hill and The View's host Sonny Hostin are both saying that the only reason Caitlin Clark is the most popular WNBA player of all time is because she is a white, good-looking, straight woman. Think about this for a second. Now, the only reason that Caitlin Clark is so popular is because she is white, good looking, and a straight white woman, basically. That's the only reason that she has the biggest draw of all time in WNBA history. That's the only reason that Nike has reportedly signed a $28 million endorsement deal with her. It's not because she was the NCAA all-time leading scorer, and that applies for both men and women, that she had more 30-point games than anyone in the past 20 years, and that she was the best player of the league last year. And we're talking about the NCAA, right? So it's none. She's not getting the attention because she's one of the best NCAA player to come out and to play with the WNBA. She's only getting that attention because she's a white woman, white straight woman. Sorry. How insane is that? This is where we're at. And I was reading about this. I've been reading about this for a couple of weeks because Jamil Hill, sorry, has said this multiple times. It's not the first time that she says that about Caitlin Clark, but Sonny Holston came out with this garbage yesterday or the day before, I think yesterday. It just blows my mind once again that those women are telling us that we need to encourage the WNBA, that we need to support the team, that we need to be there for the team, because unless you forgot this, the WNBA has never turned a profit. They lose something like $5 million every year since inception. Without the NBA, the WNBA would not exist because they've been supporting them since the beginning. So instead of celebrating that maybe there's a chance that there's a good enough player that will bring the numbers to make sure that the sport, the WNBA, not only starts making more money, but starts paying more people so that their players can make more money, that endorsement deals like the one that she signed could finally start happening in the WNBA. So by her being so popular, she's actually bringing a lot of fucking money to the table. But instead of just embracing it for what it is, they need to start saying that, oh, you know what? The only reason this is happening is because she's white and straight and good looking. I was thinking about this morning, and you tell me what you think about this, but I think this is a fucking hilarious. So it's okay for these two women to say that Caitlin Clark is only popular because she's a straight white woman. But imagine if a white straight guy like me would come out and say that the only reason that Jamil Hill and Sonny Holston got jobs on TV making a boatload of money is because they're black. It's the same thing, right? What's the difference? So I wonder if they were man, I would love for them to see this. I would love for those two to answer this simple question. Is this the only reason you guys are on TV making a boatload of money? Because of the color of your skin? Because you guys are two black women? Is that the only reason? Because that works, like this works both ways. That fucking reverse racism crap is bullshit. Black people can be racist, white people can be racist, Asian people can be racist. Everybody's can be racist. So can we all agree that racism is racism? That the color of the person doesn't really matter. And I'm talking about the person that's making the comment. That a racist comment is a racist comment. Because this is racist as shit, right? Like, how can this not be perceived as racism? That the only reason that two black women are saying that the only reason a white woman is successful is because she's a white woman that's straight. Like, come on, man. Like, come on. Like, really? Really? Is that where we're at now? Can we just take that stick out of our ass and admit that racism is racism? Stop with that political correctness and let's just be honest about this. Now, talking about racism, do you guys remember George Floyd? Like from years ago, from 2020. George Floyd is the guy that BLM used to make something like $90 million. Well, he's back in the news. And not because people are finally realizing that he didn't die because of Derek Chauvin's knee, but because he was overdosing on fentanyl. Not because finally the arresting policemen that were crucified for his death are finally getting released. No. He's back in the news because his daughter's working on a biopic of his father, and they're going to call it Daddy Changed the World. Supposedly, because those are just rumors, but supposedly that the biopic will not portray Floyd as a perfect person, but rather as a human with flaws. I wonder if they're going to talk about his criminal record. This is what I really want to know because, when this happened, I did a lot of research. I started looking at the type of person that he was. And we're not talking about an angel here. Like, listen to his criminal record. Altogether, he was arrested 9 times for charges including 4 charges of drug possession and distribution, 2 thief charge, 1 illegal trespass, 1 charge of failure to identify to a police officer, and 1 aggravated robbery. In 2007, Floyd was charged with aggravated robbery in which he allegedly placed a gun on a woman's abdomen and demanded drug and money. In 2009, he pleaded guilty and received a 5-year prison sentence. He got out on parole in 2013. Like, think about this for a second. This guy did change the world. At the end of the day, his daughter's right. He did change the world. Because remember, that was in the middle of the COVID pandemic. Nobody was supposed to do anything, but yet there were protests, there were BLM protests all over the place. He did change the world because it's been a long time before that since I had seen so many protests. And that was around the world. Like, that was in Canada, that was in the US, that was everywhere. Even Kaepernick, as I was talking about earlier, was part of it. That's why he took a knee, that he wouldn't stand up for the national anthem anymore in protest to police brutality. But can we all admit here, can we all be honest here and admit that we need to stop idolizing guys like this guy, like criminals like him, and admit that his death was a direct consequence of his life choices and not because of Derek Chauvin's knee? Can we also be honest and say that the arresting officers should not be imprisoned and they should finally be released? Like, let's be real here. Again, let me know what you guys think, because I know those subjects are the type of subject that tend to piss people off, but we need to ask ourselves hard questions, and that is one of them. That is one of the hard questions that we need to ask ourselves. So think about it. Reverse racism. Is it still racism? I believe it is. And does George Floyd deserve all of the attention that he got? Or should we just admit that he is a criminal that died from his life choices. He died of a fentanyl overdose. Let's be honest here. As always, I want to finish on a good note. And this one, I don't know. I'm curious. I don't know if you guys are going to see this as a good news, but I believe that it is. Peru officially classified trans and non-binary people as mentally ill. So in a world where men can be women, women can be men, there's finally a country that's addressing the issue head on. Because like it or not, gender dysmorphia and gender and body dysmorphia are mental illnesses. This was the case in Canada. This was the case in the US. Body and gender dysmorphias are a mental illness. It's time we stop letting the patients run the asylum and admit that this problem needs to be addressed and not encouraged. We have a problem with mental illness, and it's time for us to address it. So I'm happy to see that a country like Peru is putting its big boy pants and actually doing something about it. What do you guys think about? What do you think about this? Do you think that Peru's right? Do you think Peru's wrong? You tell me. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me on this Friday edition of the Nico Lagan Show. If you liked this episode, make sure to like, comment, share, follow. And as always, I'm going to finish with a prayer. God, thank you for everything that you do for us. We are grateful for all our blessings. Please help us find the courage to stand up for what we know is right, the words to speak what needs to be said, and the will to continue to help and serve others. Amen.